Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. The U.S. hierarchy is one step above a cesspool, barely. Some of the more obvious candidates to associate with cesspools because of their standout for their odor is El Paso, Texas Bishop Mark Seitz, who never misses a chance to pretend he's holy and caring, even at the expense of millions of dead children. He famously knelt down holding a BLM sign, even after it had become clear that BLM describes itself as an organization bent on destroying Western civilization and championing homosexual perversity as normal. All of that had been on their website until they finally took it down, being busted and all, for their true motives. But nope, that didn't stop the woke Seitz from carrying on like a traitorous Catholic. In former times, he would have been burned alive for heresy. Come to think of it, perhaps this is why Pope Francis and his gang are so determined to eliminate the death penalty. Just saying. Seitz is a straight-up commie. He wants to be part of ushering in the New World Order, so he does what every commie does. He lies and distorts and deliberately confuses. He says in an essay he wrote for, of course, fellow heretics Jesuits, their America magazine, that those fighting for the lives of the unborn are single-issue voters and have damaged the church. Specifically, pro-lifers have, quote, harmed the credibility of the commitment of Christians to the common good and compromised the integrity of our gospel witness, close quote. No, Bishop. Lying, cheating, thieving, rapist, cover-up, money-hungry bishops have harmed the church. It's especially galling that liars like Seitz, hiding behind a torrent of platitudes and high-minded principles about helping the poor, fail to see that the poorest of the poor are the ones who can do nothing, not a blessed thing, nothing, to protect their lives inside the womb. He begins his syrupy essay recalling a chance meeting with a migrant at a staged political event at the border. He recounts for us her travails, which no doubt are real, and how she and others like her are somehow the moral equivalent of a child being hacked to pieces in a swirl of blood every 30 seconds in America. Both situations are bad, but they are no way on earth equal. He's lying about that. One is chopped up in an orgy of gore, her murderers standing around laughing about it, guessing how old she was, figuring how much they can profit from selling her tiny organs. The other? Well, she lives to fight another day. The moral blindness of men in miters is beyond description. There is truly something so morally sick, demented, twisted inside them that it's impossible for them to see this clear difference. Seitz even quotes Pope Francis saying the situations are equal. That's so blind it's repugnant. Or is it blind? Is it rather not choosing sides with fellow Marxists to advance a world cause? We know, for example, from Italian media reports that George Soros was instrumental in funding the Pope's 2015 trip to America. We know that Pope Francis diverted $500,000 from the Peters Pence collection in 2018 to help fund the migrant caravan to the U.S. border, another venture funded in part by Soros. We know with reasonable certainty from various media accounts that the Vatican secretly funneled a huge sum of money to Hillary's campaign in 2016, perhaps approaching $1 million. The author, Henry Cyr, in his book Dictator Pope, outlines a vast web of corruption all surrounding this Marxist agenda. He recounts how Pope Francis was furious that Trump had won his upset election and let his feelings be known among certain high-ranking Curia members. Their globalist plans were completely thrown into chaos and would now have to be reconnoitered. That's the deep church we talk about all the time. If these men truly believe immigration is equal to child murder, then why do they never fund anything to bring a halt to the slaughter? Why don't they appear in front of world bodies and petition for the poor in the womb? Why don't they condemn candidates who support, promote, and advance the child slaughter equally in the same manner and intensity they condemn candidates who are opposed to illegal immigration? The answer is because they really don't believe the two are equal, not at all. One, they tolerate abortion because it weaves into their larger plan. They just have to pretend they care so they can carry on with keeping up appearances. Appearances that they are good men, men of God, who want the best for all humanity without any regard for themselves. Just like the Pharisees had a real regard for peace in Israel, for the good of the nation, even if one man had to perish. And of course, it never occurred to them in the slightest that they would profit from his death personally, or so they thought. Exactly how personal profit never occurs to the hierarchy in making their political choices known. These men are truly disgusting to behold. Draped in the robes of their sacred office, it actually turns your stomach to look at most of them. A bunch of conniving, socially awkward, out of shape, limp-wristed middle management bureaucrats, content with counting their shekels, while thousands of children are torn to shreds in the womb every day, and that's just in America. But oh, look at us, virtue signaling how wonderful we are. Other people suffer also. And if we help those people, we get all kinds of money from the government. So yeah, all of this is equal, but not really. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died and had millions, tens of millions of children at her judgment testifying against her. But she was not a successor of the apostles. He is a bishop. He is a successor of the apostles. He's just a fraudulent Catholic. He's a lying, deceiving fraud, like many of his brothers who have to keep declaring bankruptcy because they can't keep up with all the lawsuits from the thousands of boys who were raped by their priests and bishop friends and then all covered up about it. They care nothing about children, the cheats. They don't care about them in the womb. They don't care about them while they're being raped by fellow clergy. They only care about them when they are immigrants they can cash in for $1 and charge the taxpayer for. Getting Biden elected for them is job one. A huge number of these men. It's their job one so they can once again raid the nation's piggy bank for lucre while pretending to care for the poor. If you cared for the poor, truly, you'd protect the children in your care, born and preborn, and had billions of dollars available to help you with all of that. Instead, you've squandered the church's wealth and even sued insurance companies who rightfully refuse to pay settlements for your sins and given $4 billion to your attorneys and victims. But hey, Bishop, all these lives are equal, right? Each is a concern to you, right? Then why do you only talk about the ones you can make $1 off? You want Trump out of office because he upsets your status quo, is draining the swamp, and you're all being exposed for the crooks you are, spiritual terrorists. And in his place, you'll accept a child killer and his anti-Catholic bigot running mate and pretend to idiotic Catholics made that way by you that there is a difficult choice here. On the one hand, we have someone temporarily unemployed, and on the other hand, someone permanently dead. Yeah, that's a very confusing choice. Wait till the lot of you die. Just wait. But then you don't believe any of that anyway. So you'll have to find out then, when it's too late. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.